new bands, what bands would you recommend?
Okay, so I go to a lot of gigs, probably 2-3 times a week. Not only big bands, but a lot of unsigned bands. So I went and saw this incredible band called She Made Me Do It. This is Will Crewston, who's a guitarist for Adamant. He's a solo artist, a scant regard. And then I went to the Monarch in Camden. I saw this amazing band called Velvet Starlings. My friend Matt said, you got to check them out. Heard them in soundcheck. As soon as this kid came on, I was just like, wow, he's amazing. And then he went with guitar upstairs, down, just totally blew away the audience. And then I kind of spoke to him. Next week I went and saw him, did an interview with him on Facebook Live. He told me he just finished high school. I was like, excuse me? He said, yeah, I'm 16. I'm like, what? Wow. I was just like, so...
And he's from America? Is he from America?
He's from LA. His dad was in a British band. His mum's a music lawyer. So it's good that he's being, at that young age, be looked after in the music industry. Natalie Lindy is another lady who supported Erica, who sings with... she's a great artist. Erica Emma Footman, who supports... sings backing vocals at Skunk Anansie, and I've heard her sing live, and then she did this incredible version of Creep by Radiohead. Ra, who sings with Dave Stewart, she's a R&B artist. She's amazing. She just supported Bobby McFerrin in Montreux and got to sing with Quincy Jones. And then there's a band called Sons. They're a two-piece band from Brighton. They're kind of punk, and then Taurus Trackers, like another two-piece. We're playing tomorrow. So there's lots of unsigned bands and great bands, live bands, because it's all about entertaining and grabbing the attention. And you hear that song or something, whether it's the lead singer or the guitarist is really cool, or the melody you hum when you go on the way home, something that you grab you, that you want to go, I want to see this band again, or I want to learn more about them, or go and see them perform, more importantly, live again.
Well, it takes a hell of a lot of work.
Well, of course, rehearsals, and
then to hope that it's all going to be great on the night. I mean, it's a very different game to like just DJing or whatever else. Yeah, so you talked about the bands that you recommend. I mean, obviously you know a lot about new music as well, and that's why I'm here, because you're the go-to guy for me for music. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to anyone. I love music. I think it's amazing. But I've got my selection of artists is so small. We talked about something, and you touched on this thing about there being more black artists now than they were before. Yeah,
or they're more accessible. First of all, I think it's a generational thing, with especially like a music genre like grime, and that appeals to the younger generation. And I also think there's far more opportunities for artists of colour. Back in the day in the 80s, you had the wonderful Soul to Soul and Loose Ends and Imagination, but Loose Ends and especially Soul to Soul really broke big in America. And then you'd have the occasional, solo artists who actually was American, Terence Trent D'Arby, who's now called Sananda Betrayer, Roachford, who's still going. It was really difficult, I think, for some of those. Paul Johnson's an amazing singer. He was signed to Sony. So I think, and Donny, who plays, Grace's band. Like now, I think there's far more. It's easier to get on the radio. I think it's also a generational thing, and downloads, and a lot of these artists perform a lot, and there's a lot of media about them, and Stormzy, and they're getting to play Glastonbury, which is great as well. So I think it's a lot easier now for some of the Trailblazers,
I think. I mean, I don't know. I think it's. The Stormzy. All I see is Stormzy. When you talk about black artists, I just think there isn't any black artists. I think there was only Stormzy.
No, there's quite a lot more.
I don't seem to hear those names anywhere else. We might say Rita Ora, as well. Who else is that other wonderful lady who's done that Umbrella?
Rihanna.
Yeah. But the thing is, these have all come through at different times, and maybe from America. But in terms of the UK,
no, there's a big UK scene.
Maybe in grime and other hip hop, and that's for that, and that should be there. But it ought to also be other genres of music.
Definitely, I totally
there was
agree.
Loads more. I mean, I think that there was loads more music or different types of black artists doing different things back in the 80s. Considering whatever, Thin Lizzy, for example. I was at Thin Lizzy, whatever else. There's lots of, Hendrix was his 70s, but the fact that whole generation coming through, it kind of said, look, okay, these are things happening, and we can do other things. I think now what we have is just grime. We have just hip hop, and I don't. Is it hip hop? I don't know if it's hip hop actually, but it's something else, and it's something unique. And the British scene has created it, and it's fantastic. But the fact is, there's a lot of negative things connotation in that music, and I think what happens when you only show one type of music, you're saying that that's the only thing that black people listen to.
I totally agree.
And and I think there's room for both. I think there's room for more. There should be like black rock music or rock music. Forget even the colour.
Rock music, that's always appealed to me. So I've always, like you say, like Hendrix, and there was a band in the 90s called Audio Web, which was a band signed to U2's label, indie band from Manchester, who Ian Brown loved, and it's like with a reggae singer. So it's like an indie band with a reggae singer toasting, and they were amazing. And I've always liked the black rock bands like Living Colour, and I went and saw Fishbone in America, and even though they're American, they were great. A bit crazy for me, but Living Colour, Skunk Anansie.
Oh, Fishbone, yeah. Was it Fishbone?
Fishbone, they're from LA.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, they were definitely
they're still crazy,
out there.
And they're still great.
But it's great though, isn't that great to have some that crazy?
But these guys are trailblazers. Like I say, 30 years. It all started with Sly and the Family Stone with multiracial bands. And that was kind of like funk music, but then rock is like Bad Brains and Living Colour, Fishbone, and you got Skunk Anansie, who've been celebrating 25 years. And unfortunately their biggest market is Italy. They play big stadiums. They've still got big fan base here, but I think in terms of black rock, it's hard probably to get on the radio or maybe to get press. So maybe you're right. It's still probably difficult.
Yeah, and that'd be wonderful if we saw that change. It'd be great.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think it would change so much. If people would just got all these young kids going there, practicing their guitars, practicing their drums, and practicing their instruments, the bass guitars, and going out performing. If there was a market for it, and I think that's what that's what people should be looking at. Is that let's have more genres of music for black people rather than just one type of music. Although it's great, but it'll make a difference if we had more.
Like I follow this lady who sings with Chic called Kimberly Davis, and amongst all the soul singers, whether they're performers or not, they all love Phil Collins. So they were just supporting Phil Collins in Europe somewhere, and she was like, she was so happy, and it's like, it's amazing how. Well, I think it doesn't matter about colour. It's just like great music influences different generations and different. It just really does. Music is just universal.
Yeah, it is.
It
is universal. We know that because even in grime, everyone loves that. It's not just the audience isn't black. It's everybody listening to it. Yeah. Like hip hop, it's everyone listening to it. That music is
great. Yeah,
pumping.
Good hip hop.
Yeah, but what I mean is, it crosses all the racial divides that have been tried. People are trying to create.
But it's also radio stations, especially in America. I don't know what it's like now, but back in the day. They would be really segmented. So, the rock music, would be just for rock stations, and so it's very segmented.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, even look at LBC radio. You've got people. The show is specific for that conversation. They won't allow anything else to come in. Look what we've done. We've talked about 80s. Now we're talking about modern music. There should be room for that. There should be room for that change.
And on TV, there should be more music on TV. There's some really great actual journalists.
What about Jules Holland? What happened to Jules Holland?
He's still on. And that's so many, because thank you for mentioning him. I love Jules Holland because, in this country, we very much, English people really like artists sing in English. So sometimes you see bands from all over the world. And obviously the record companies put their artists forward, and you see great musicians and artists from all over the world. And I saw this amazing guy, check him out, called Nakhane, Nakhane, from South Africa. This amazing black artist from. He was like a Bjork. He had the makeup on, and he was just so theatrical, a bit Bowie-esque, and had the most amazing voice. And if it wasn't for Jules Holland, and that's only the only one on TV, so
you get surprises, don't you?
You get some amazing people on there from all over the world, and I love that. But there should be more, to be honest with you.
Well, you know what? That concludes our interview.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome.